and welcome to Marble Gallery's Game of the Year 2025 series of videos. You know, it's that time of year, and 2025, I will say for me personally, has been a difficult and challenging year for a lot of reasons, on and off camera. But with all of that being said, I have, you know, my different categories that I do every year. And we're going to kick it off this year with 2025's biggest mess. And I have, as always, I always have a runner up, and then I have the winner of this category. Not a pleasant category, but is what it is. So my runner up for this category is Bethesda. I think Bethesda has really been on a downward trend. Like, obviously the Fallout show is incredibly popular, but when it comes to their games, I think that they've had some real struggles recently, especially with the Oblivion remaster. Now I will put this up and say, like, the Oblivion remaster is in my top 10 list this year because I did still enjoy it, but the game is plagued with issues, especially the very, very end of that game. Like, if you play the Shivering Isles DLC, I was playing it, and again, this could be a PS5 Pro issue. The PS5 Pro does have its own set of issues that seem to be different than a standard PS5. I like to call that machine the inconvenient machine because it's how I really feel. Like, there's very little games I feel like really show a support for the system. And honestly, if I could go back in time and to when I made the decision to get one, I probably wouldn't at this point. Oblivion Remaster, for me, playing through the Shivering Isles, I got to a point where it was crashing every time I was loading a door. It would crash right out to the dashboard of the PS5. I would have to save every time I opened a door and hope that the game wasn't going to crash. And it was not a pleasant experience to get through the end of that game. It took longer than it should have. That being said, I still enjoyed it, but it's just everything else that's going on with Bethesda. They're kind of like in this weird rut right now, I feel, as a company. And with some of the other stuff, they put out that Fallout 4 like 10-year anniversary edition with a slap to the face price that people were not happy about, and they didn't really do much to upgrade it past what they did earlier. There's a lot of things about where you look at, like, Bethesda in 2025 is not Bethesda from 10 years ago. And that's a real bummer. But I can't sit here and say that's even close to the biggest mess this year. The biggest mess of this year is easily Microsoft and the Xbox division. You guys know on the channel, like, I've been a pretty significant pro Xbox person and have been since 2005 when the 360 came out, and I really jumped back in to playing consoles and enjoying consoles. The 360 is what brought me back from a couple years of almost strictly playing PC games. And the Xbox, in my opinion, the Xbox died in 2025. We kind of got the confirmation that everything's just going to come out to PlayStation. The just continued increased prices for the system. Now I don't even know what the base price for a Series X is now. I think it's almost $700. I ended up personally, I had two Series X systems. I ended up trading one in, and after the trade-in credit, it was only about $60 less than what I paid for the system in 2022 because of tariffs and the price hike. So I ended up using that credit throughout the rest of the year to buy the other games and stuff that I wanted. I just finally used that credit up, a couple weeks ago. So that was helpful, but at the same time, like, I don't miss it. I let my Game Pass lapse. It just lapsed on January 11th here. And I'll be honest, I haven't played a game to completion on Game Pass since Doom: The Dark Ages. Like, the service just has not been hitting for me the way it used to. The increased price to $30 a month is outrageous, in my opinion. There's the value has dwindled from what it was. And that really, it took me out to the point that I just consider it a dead platform. Like, it's funny because when I met my fiance 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, she was very much a PlayStation person, and I kind of converted her over to the Xbox. And I've kind of reconverted her back over to the PlayStation the last couple of months. So like even she's not turning the system on. I think the system I have out in my living room, like my main Series X, the last couple of months has only been turned on as a 4K Blu-ray player. I've been primarily playing on the PS5, Steam. I can't say I've really have, played much on the Switch too, but it's just, I look at it as a dead platform. It's really sad at the same time. I do think they've made good strides to really expand Xbox Play Anywhere and the whole Play Anywhere program, but I'd rather just buy the games I'm interested in playing than subscribe to a service that has a plethora of games that I simply just don't have time to play all that stuff. So I will re-up the service to play Fable whenever that comes out later this year because I want to cover it. But I'm not going to be just continuously renewing that subscription every month. And I consider the platform dead, and just a lot of broken promises, a lot of the cancellations that happened this year. Like Perfect Dark was a big one for me because I was excited about that game. Just outright canceling that game, shutting all these studios down, and Microsoft's continued push into being an AI company is what's really killing the Xbox division. I feel it's just they've taken L after L this year. Like we used to joke on the podcast that like they're stepping on rakes all the time, but like that's 100% true. They just, and it's the thing that's horrible about it. The thing that really bothers me is they act like they're ignorant about all of the backlash out there. Like they make these announcements, they don't give a fuck that they're, making shit $30 for that subscription. They just kind of weather the storm and continue. And I think the game, like obviously we've had either 2 or 3 price hikes for the system and the hardware this year. But then when that other foot dropped, and I knew it was coming and I knew it was going to happen before Call of Duty hit, but when that other part hit, and they jumped the price to, $30 a month for Game Pass. I think that's what really did it for a lot of people, myself included, where I'm like, this platform's dead, man. Like all of the scuttle around the next system they're going to put out is that system would be over $1,000. I've heard upwards of $1,500. Nobody is going to pay that much money for a dedicated console. At that point, you might as well build your own PC. Now, that does also get into the factor of the RAM thing that's going on right now. Like, that's actually hindered me from building a new PC because the RAM prices are out of control. So those systems might get delayed till 2030, and that's 100% fine with me. But I do think that is going to directly affect the prices of the system. And again, if you're going to put out a brand new console at that price point, you're dead in the water, in my opinion. So I don't think there's a bigger mess this year than Microsoft, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Love to know in the comments below what you guys think was the biggest mess of 2025. Stay tuned for more Game of the Year videos here. Otherwise, I'll catch you later.